A drunk passenger slapped Mike Tyson across the face on a packed airplane. He screamed, "What are you gonna do, old man? You're washed up." But when Tyson slowly stood up and turned around, what happened in the next 30 seconds left everyone on that plane in complete shock. And the twist at the end. It'll change how you see strength forever. Before we dive in, drop a comment below. Where in the world are you watching from right now? And if you've ever had to bite your tongue and walk away from disrespect, even when every muscle in your body wanted to fight back. This story is for you, because what Mike Tyson did that day wasn't just about self-control. It was about something far more powerful. Let's get into it. It was a Tuesday night, April 20th, 2022. JetBlue Flight 1546 from San Francisco to Florida. The plane was packed, business travelers heading home, families with kids, a few tourists scattered throughout the cabin, and in seat 10D, wearing a black hoodie, noise-canceling headphones on, sat Mike Tyson. He wasn't traveling with security, no entourage, no bodyguards, just Mike, trying to get home after a long day of business meetings. He'd been doing well lately, podcasting, acting, speaking at events, building his cannabis empire. At 55 years old, he'd finally found peace, the anger that once defined him. Gone, the impulsiveness that derailed his career. Under control, Mike Tyson had become a different man, but 2 rows behind him trouble was brewing. A man in his early 30s, let's call him Melvin, was already drunk before he even boarded. Loud, obnoxious. The kind of passenger everyone hopes isn't sitting near them. His buddy next to him kept trying to calm him down. "Bro, just chill. We'll be there in a few hours." But Melvin wasn't interested in chilling. He'd been drinking since noon, whiskey shots at the airport bar, miniature bottles he'd snuck onto the plane. He was looking for attention. And when he realized who was sitting 2 rows ahead, his eyes lit up. "Yo, is that Mike Tyson?" Half the cabin turned to look. Mike didn't move, didn't acknowledge it. Just stared out the window, lost in his own thoughts. Melvin grinned. "Man, I can't believe it. Iron Mike. Right there?" His friend whispered, "Just leave him alone, dude." "Why? He's a celebrity. He's used to it." The flight attendants finished their safety demonstration. The plane began to taxi down the runway. Everything seemed normal. But as soon as they reached cruising altitude and the seatbelt sign turned off, Melvin unbuckled. "I'm gonna go say what's up." His friend grabbed his arm. "Don't. You're drunk. You're gonna embarrass yourself, boff." Melvin shook him off. "Relax. I'm just being friendly." He stood up, swaying slightly, and leaned over the seat in front of him.
"Yo, Mike. Big fan, man."
Mike heard him but didn't turn around. He'd been through this 1,000 times, fans, hecklers, people trying to provoke him. He'd learned to tune it out. Melvin raised his voice.
"Hey."
"I'm talking to you." A flight attendant approached quickly. "Sir, please return to your seat. I just want to talk to him for a second." "Sir, you need to sit down." Now. Melvin rolled his eyes and sat back down, but only for a moment. 5 minutes later, he was up again. This time, he didn't just lean over the seat. He walked right up to Mike's row and tapped him on the shoulder. Mike slowly removed one earbud and turned his head. His face was calm, patient, almost kind. "What's up, man?" Melvin's breath reeked of alcohol. "Yo, I just wanted to meet you, bro. You're a legend. I appreciate that. Have a good flight." Mike put the earbud back in, but Melvin didn't walk away. "So what, you're too good to talk to your fans now?" Mike took a breath. "I'm just tired, brother. Long day?" "Yeah, I bet. Must be tough being washed up." A few passengers gasped. Mike's jaw tightened, but he didn't respond. The flight attendant returned. "Sir, final warning. Sit down or we're landing this plane." Melvin threw his hands up. All right. Damn." He stumbled back to his seat, laughing. His friend looked mortified. "Dude, what is wrong with you?" "Relax. It's just jokes." But Melvin wasn't done. 10 minutes passed. Then 15, the cabin started to relax. People went back to their phones, their books, their movies. Mike leaned his seat back and closed his eyes. That's when Melvin stood up again. This time, he pulled out his phone and started recording. He walked up the aisle, camera pointed at Mike.
"Yo, everybody.
I'm on a plane with Mike Tyson and he's ignoring me like I'm nobody." Passengers started whispering. Some pulled out their own phones. The flight attendant rushed over. "Sir, you need to stop. Right now." Melvin ignored her. He leaned right over Mike's seat, camera in his face. "Come on, champ. Say something. Show me that famous Tyson rage." Mike opened his eyes slowly. He looked directly into the camera, and his voice, calm, controlled, almost a whisper, cut through the noise. "Brother, I'm giving you one chance. Walk away," Melvin smirked, Or what? And that's when he made the biggest mistake of his entire life. He reached over the seat and slapped Mike Tyson across the face. The sound echoed through the cabin like a gunshot. Every single person froze, and Mike Tyson stood up. The cabin went dead silent. Not a cough, not a whisper. Not even the hum of conversation. Just the sound of the plane's engines and 150 people holding their breath. Mike Tyson rose from his seat slowly, like a mountain coming to life. Even at 55, the man's presence was terrifying. Shoulders like boulders, hands that had ended careers, a neck thicker than most people's thighs, and his eyes, cold, focused, locked on Melvin. Melvin's smirk vanished instantly. His phone nearly slipped from his hand.
Yo, I was just playing, man. I was a joke.
Mike didn't say a word. He just stared. The kind of stare that has made grown men quit before the bell even rang. Melvin took a step back, bumping into the seat behind him. Come on, bro. Don't be like that. I'm a fan. I paid money to see your fights. Still nothing. Just that stare. A passenger in the back whispered loudly enough for everyone to hear. He's done. That guy's about to get destroyed. Another pulled out their phone. Someone record this. World Star is gonna lose their mind. The flight attendant stepped between them, trembling. Mr. Tyson, please. Let us handle this. Mike's jaw clenched. His fists were at his sides, but you could see every vein, every muscle coiled like a spring. Melvin's friend jumped up from his seat. Mike, I'm so sorry. He's drunk. He got him away from me, Mike said quietly. Right now. His voice wasn't loud, but it carried weight. Authority. Danger. Melvin tried to laugh it off. Man, you're acting like I hurt you. It was a tap. Wrong thing to say. Mike took one step forward. Just one. And Melvin flinched so hard he tripped over his own feet and fell backward into the aisle. Passengers gasped. A few people laughed nervously. Someone yelled, "Sit down, idiot, before you get knocked out." Melvin scrambled to his feet, his face red, half from alcohol, half from humiliation. You know what? You're not even that tough anymore. You're old, you're slow. I could probably take you right now. The entire plane erupted.
Are you serious? Bro, sit down. Someone get this man off the plane.
Even the pilot's voice crackled over the intercom. This is your captain speaking. If the disturbance in the cabin does not cease immediately, we will be diverting to the nearest airport. But Melvin was too far gone. His ego, his alcohol, his need for attention, it all collided into one catastrophic decision. He stepped forward again, chest puffed out, pointing his finger in Mike's face. You don't scare me. Your has been a meme. Everybody remembers you getting knocked out by Buster Douglas. Mike's breathing stayed steady.
In, out.
Controlled. His therapist's voice echoed in his head. When you feel the anger rising, count to 10. Remember who you are now, not who you were. 1, 2, 3. Melvin shoved his shoulder. 4, 5. What, you gonna cry? You gonna bite my ear off like you did Hollifield? 6, 7. The passengers were on edge. Some were standing now. Others had their phones up, recording every second. A woman in first class whispered to her husband, "This is about to go viral." 8, 9. Melvin leaned in close, his breath hot and rancid. Do something, old man. I dare you. 10. Mike Tyson took a deep breath, and then he smiled. Not a friendly smile. Not a warm smile. A smile that said, I've decided something. You want me to do something? Mike asked calmly. Melvin grinned. Yeah, show me what you got. Mike nodded slowly. Then he turned to the flight attendant. Get the captain. Tell him to land this plane, I'm pressing charges. Melvin blinked. Wait, what? You assaulted me on camera. In front of 150 witnesses. Melvin's face went pale. Bro, I barely touched you. You slapped me. You shoved me. You threatened me. That's assault. The flight attendant grabbed her radio. Captain, we need an emergency landing. Passenger incident. Police required on arrival. Melvin's bravado crumbled. No, come on, man. I was just messing around. Mike sat back down in his seat, calm as ever. You wanted to do something. Now we're doing something. Melvin's friend grabbed his arm.
Dude, what did you do? You just got us kicked off the plane.
I didn't think he'd actually.
You slapped Mike Tyson. What did you think was gonna happen?
The captain's voice came back over the intercom. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be making an unscheduled landing in Las Vegas in approximately 15 minutes. We apologize for the inconvenience. Law enforcement will be boarding the aircraft upon arrival. The cabin buzzed with whispers. Some passengers were annoyed. Others were thrilled. One guy in the back stood up and shouted,
Yo, Mike.
You're a legend, bro. Scattered applause broke out. Melvin slumped into his seat, head in his hands. The reality of his actions finally sinking in. His phone, still recording, had captured everything. The slap, the threats, the shove, his entire meltdown, immortalized forever. And as the plane began its descent into Las Vegas, one thought ran through his mind. I just destroyed my life in 30 seconds. But the story wasn't over. Not even close. Because what happened after they landed? That's the part no one saw coming. 15 minutes felt like an eternity. Melvin sat frozen in his seat, hands shaking, sweat dripping down his forehead. His friend wouldn't even look at him. The other passengers kept glancing back, some with pity, most with disgust. One woman shook her head and muttered, "Idiot." A businessman in a suit whispered to his colleague, "That's going to be all over the news by tonight." Melvin's phone buzzed in his pocket, text messages. Lots of them. His video, the one he'd been recording, had already uploaded to his Instagram story before he even realized it. And now it was spreading, fast. His notifications were exploding, comments, shares, reposts. "Bro, you're done. You just slapped Mike Tyson. Ripe. This man has a death wish. Delete your account and move to another country." Melvin's stomach turned. He leaned over to his friend. "Dude, what do I do?" His friend finally looked at him, eyes full of disappointment. "You apologize. And you pray he doesn't sue you into the ground." The plane touched down in Las Vegas with a hard thud. The captain's voice crackled over the speaker one more time. "Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived in Las Vegas. Please remain seated until law enforcement has boarded the aircraft. This will only take a few minutes. We apologize again for the delay." Groans echoed through the cabin. A few passengers stood up anyway, grabbing their bags from the overhead compartments. One guy shouted toward the back,
Thanks a lot, genius!
"Some of us have connecting flights." Melvin sank lower in his seat. The plane door opened. 2 Las Vegas Metropolitan Police officers stepped aboard, followed by an airport security supervisor. They walked straight to Mike's row. "Are Mr. Tyson?" Mike stood up, calm and composed. "That's me. We understand there was an incident. Can you walk us through what happened?" Mike nodded. "I was sitting here, minding my business. That man," he pointed back at Melvin, "came up to me multiple times, harassed me, recorded me without permission, then slapped me across the face and shoved me." The officer took notes. "Did anyone else witness this?" Half the plane raised their hands. A passenger in the row behind Mike stood up. "I got the whole thing on video. Want me to send it to you?" The officer nodded. "Please email it to this address." He handed the man a card. Another passenger chimed in. "He was drunk before we even took off." Flight attendants warned him 3 times. The lead flight attendant stepped forward. "That's correct. We gave him multiple warnings. He refused to comply." The officer turned toward Melvin. "Sir, please stand up and step into the aisle." Melvin's legs felt like jelly. He stood slowly, avoiding eye contact with everyone. "Turn around and place your hands behind your back." "Wait. You're arresting me. You're being detained for assault and disorderly conduct. You have the right to remain silent."
This is insane!
"I barely touched him." The second officer stepped closer. "Sir, do not resist." Melvin's friend stood up. "Officers, please, he's drunk. He made a huge mistake. Can we just step back, sir? This doesn't involve you." They cuffed Melvin's hands behind his back. Click. The sound echoed through the cabin. A few passengers pulled out their phones again. "Yo, this is crazy. He's getting arrested on the plane. Mike Tyson just got this man locked up." As the officers escorted Melvin toward the front of the plane, he turned his head back toward Mike. His voice cracked. "Mikey, I'm sorry, man. I'm really sorry." Mike looked up from his seat. For a moment, their eyes met. Melvin expected anger, hatred, maybe even satisfaction, but what he saw was something else entirely. Pity. Mike shook his head slowly. "You did this to yourself." The officers walked Melvin off the plane. The door closed behind them, and the cabin erupted in applause. People stood up, clapping, cheering. "Good riddance. That's what he gets." "Mike, you're a legend, bro." One passenger leaned over the seat. "Mr. Tyson, I just want to say, you showed incredible restraint. A lot of people would have knocked him out." Mike smiled faintly. "I've knocked out enough people for one lifetime." Another passenger, an older man, shook his hand. "You're a better man than I would have been." The flight attendant approached with a bottle of water. "Mr. Tyson, I'm so sorry you had to deal with that. Can I get you anything else?" "I'm good. Thank you." She hesitated. "For what it's worth, what you did back there, not hitting him, that took more strength than any punch." Mike nodded. "Took me a long time to learn that. The plane took off again 20 minutes later. This time the cabin was peaceful. Mike put his headphones back on, leaned against the window, and closed his eyes. But his mind was racing. He thought about the old Mike Tyson, the one who would have swung first and asked questions later, the one who let his emotions control him, the one who lost everything because he couldn't control his anger. That version of him would have destroyed Melvin in seconds, and the headlines the next day would have read, Mike Tyson arrested for assault on airplane. His career would have been over. Again, his reputation ruined again. All because of one drunk idiot. But he didn't take the bait. He chose differently. And in that moment, Mike realized something powerful. Walking away wasn't weakness. It was the hardest thing he'd ever done. Harder than any fight. Harder than any training camp. Harder than any comeback. Because every instinct in his body had screamed at him to swing. But he didn't, and that was real strength. Meanwhile, in a holding cell at McCarran International Airport, Melvin sat with his head in his hands. His phone had been confiscated. His flight was gone. His video had gone viral, but not the way he'd hoped. He wasn't famous. He was infamous, the laughingstock of the internet, and the worst part. He deserved every bit of it. A guard walked by. "You got a phone call?" Melvin stood up.
Who is it?
"Your mom." Melvin closed his eyes. This was going to be the hardest conversation of his life, but little did he know, the story was far from over. Because what Mike Tyson did next, nobody, not even Melvin, saw it coming. 3 days later, Melvin sat in his apartment, blinds closed, phone off, hiding from the world. The video had exploded. Over 40 million views across Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Every major news outlet had covered it. Drunk passenger slaps Mike Tyson on plane. Instantly regrets it. Man arrested after assaulting boxing legend mid-flight. Mike Tyson shows restraint as passenger attacks him. His face was everywhere, memes, jokes. Reaction videos, he'd lost his job. His girlfriend broke up with him over text. His family was furious. His lawyer told him he was facing up to 6 months in jail, and a potential lawsuit from Tyson that could cost him everything. Melvin had hit rock bottom. He sat on his couch, staring at the ceiling, wondering how his life had fallen apart so fast. Then his phone buzzed. He'd turned it back on an hour ago, just to check messages from his lawyer. But this wasn't his lawyer. It was an unknown number. He almost didn't answer, but something told him to pick up. "Hello." Silence for a moment, then a voice. Deep. Familiar. Melvin. His heart stopped.
Yeah, who's this?
"It's Mike Tyson." Melvin shot up from the couch, nearly dropping the phone. "Wait, what? How did you? Your friend gave me your number." "I asked him for it." Melvin's mind raced. "Why?" Mike paused. "Because I wanted to talk to you."
About what?
"The lawsuit. Look, man, I don't have any money. I lost my job. I'm already screwed. I'm not suing you." Silence. Melvin blinked. "What? I'm not suing you, Melvin. I'm not pressing charges either." Melvin sat back down slowly, his hands trembling. "I don't understand." Mike took a breath. "I've been where you are." "What do you mean?" "Rock bottom. Hated by everyone. One bad decision away from losing everything." Melvin's throat tightened. "I've done worse than slap someone on a plane, Melvin. Way worse. And people gave me second chances. A lot of them. So I'm giving you one." Melvin's eyes filled with tears. "Why?" "I don't deserve it. Maybe not. But I didn't deserve mine either." Mike's voice softened.
I talked to your friend.
"He told me what you're going through. Lost your job. Your girl. Your dad just passed. You've been drinking to cope." Melvin wiped his eyes. "That's not an excuse for what I did. No, it's not. But it's a reason. And reasons matter. I could have knocked you out on that plane, Melvin. Easily. And everyone would have cheered. The headlines would have said I was defending myself. But where would that leave you? In a hospital, maybe worse. And me. Right back where I was 20 years ago. Out of control, making headlines for the wrong reasons." Melvin's voice cracked.
I'm so sorry, Mike. I was an idiot. I embarrassed myself.
"I embarrassed you. You embarrassed yourself. Not me. I'm good." Mike chuckled softly.
But you?
"You've got some work to do."
I know.
"So here's what's gonna happen." Melvin sat up straighter, listening. "I'm dropping the charges. You're not going to jail." Melvin exhaled, tears streaming down his face. "Thank you. Thank you so much. But," Mike interrupted, "you're going to do something for me. Anything. I swear. You're going to get help. Rehelp therapy. meetings. Whatever it takes. And you're going to check in with me once a month. On the phone. Just like this." Melvin's eyes widened. You want to stay in touch?" "Yeah." Because I know what happens when people hit rock bottom and nobody's there to pull them back up. I'm not letting you disappear, Melvin. You're going to get your life together. And I'm going to make sure you do. Melvin couldn't speak. He just nodded, even though Mike couldn't see him. You still there?
Yeah,
Melvin whispered.
I'm here.
Good. Now go take a shower. You probably look like hell. Melvin laughed through his tears.
I do. And Melvin?
Yeah. Stop drinking.
Today.
Right now. Pour it all out. Melvin looked at the half-empty bottle of whiskey on his coffee table. He stood up, grabbed it, walked to the kitchen, and poured it down the sink. It's gone. Good. That's day 1. Now let's get to day 2. They talked for another 20 minutes. Mike shared his own struggles with addiction, anger, and ego. He told Melvin about the years he spent in therapy, the relapses, the moments he almost gave up. But he also told him about the breakthroughs, the small victories, the people who believed in him when he didn't believe in himself. By the end of the call, Melvin felt something he hadn't felt in months. Hope. Thank you, Mike. I don't know how to repay you. You don't repay me. You pay it forward. When you get back on your feet, you help someone else who's struggling. I will. I promise. I know you will. Now go. Start day 1. All right. Thank you again. You're welcome. Talk soon. Mike hung up. Melvin sat in his kitchen, staring at his phone, tears still running down his face. He opened his notes app and typed, Day 1, no alcohol. Called by Mike Tyson. Got a second chance. Not gonna waste it. He saved it. Then he opened his contacts and scrolled to his friend's number. You gave Mike my number. His friend replied immediately. Yeah. He asked for it. Said he wanted to talk to you. Why? What happened? Melvin smiled. He just saved my life. But here's what Melvin didn't know. Mike Tyson had made a decision after that plane ride. A decision that would change both of their lives forever. And what he did next. It would shock everyone who thought they knew the end of this story. 6 months later, Melvin stood backstage at a small community center in Las Vegas, his hands shaking. Not from alcohol, he'd been sober for 182 days, but from nerves. In 5 minutes, he'd be walking onto a stage in front of 200 people to tell his story. His sponsor, a guy named Carlos from AA, put a hand on his shoulder. You ready? Melvin took a deep breath. I think so. You've got this. Just speak from the heart. Melvin nodded. The past 6 months had been the hardest and best of his life. After Mike's call, he'd checked himself into outpatient rehab. Started going to AA meetings 5 times a week. Found a therapist who specialized in grief and addiction. Got a new job working construction. Nothing glamorous, but honest work. And every month, like clockwork, his phone would ring. Mike Tyson, checking in, asking how he was doing, listening. Offering advice. Sometimes they'd talk for 10 minutes. Sometimes an hour. Mike never judged him. Never lectured him. He just showed up. Consistently. And that consistency saved Melvin's life. But 3 weeks ago, Mike had called with a different kind of question. How do you feel about public speaking? Melvin laughed. Why? Because I think you've got a story worth telling. What do you mean? Mike explained. He was hosting a fundraiser for a nonprofit that helped people struggling with addiction and mental health. And he wanted Melvin to speak. Melvin's first reaction was panic. I can't do that. Everyone knows me as the idiot who slapped you on a plane. Exactly. And now they need to know you as the man who turned his life around. I don't know, man. Melvin, you've been sober for 5 months. You've got a job. You're in therapy. You're doing the work. There are people out there, right now, who are where you were 6 months ago, and they need to hear that it's possible to come back. Melvin was quiet. You don't have to decide now, Mike said. Think about it. But I believe in you, and I think you'd be amazing. Melvin thought about it for 3 days. Then he called Mike back. I'll do it. Now, standing backstage, Melvin heard the MC's voice echo through the room. Ladies and gentlemen, our next speaker has a story that went viral for all the wrong reasons. But what happened after that moment is what really matters. Please welcome to the stage Melvin Torres. Melvin walked out. The lights were bright. The room was packed. He saw faces in the crowd, some curious, some skeptical, some genuinely rooting for him. And in the front row, arms crossed, smiling proudly, sat Mike Tyson. Melvin stepped up to the microphone. His heart pounded. He cleared his throat. 6 months ago, I was the most hated man on the internet. A few people chuckled. I slapped Mike Tyson on an airplane. And if you haven't seen the video, don't worry. It's still out there. 40 million views and counting. More laughter. The tension in the room eased. I was drunk. I was angry. I was grieving my father's death and I didn't know how to handle it. So I drank, and I lashed out, and I made the worst decision of my life. He paused. I thought my life was over. I lost my job, my girlfriend, my reputation. I was facing jail time. I had nothing left. And then, Mike Tyson called me. The room went silent. He didn't call to yell at me. He didn't call to gloat. He called to check on me. Melvin's voice cracked. He told me he'd been where I was, that he understood what it felt like to hit rock bottom. And he offered me something I didn't deserve, a second chance. He looked at Mike. Mike didn't just drop the charges. He stayed in my life. He called me every month. He listened. He encouraged me. He held me accountable. And because of him, I'm standing here today, 6 months sober, working an honest job, and actually proud of who I'm becoming. The audience erupted in applause. Melvin wiped his eyes. I'm not here to make excuses for what I did. What I did was wrong, stupid, harmful, but I'm here to tell you that one mistake doesn't have to define your entire life. If you're struggling with addiction, with grief, with anger, you're not alone. And it's not too late to turn things around. It starts with one decision, one day, one person who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. He looked directly at Mike again. Thank you for being that person for me. Mike stood up and started clapping. Then the entire room stood, a standing ovation. Melvin stepped back from the microphone, overwhelmed. He walked off stage, and Mike was waiting for him. Without a word, Mike pulled him into a hug. I'm proud of you, brother. Melvin's voice was barely a whisper. I couldn't have done it without you.
Yeah, you could have.
But I'm glad you didn't have to. Later that night, after the event, Mike and Melvin sat outside on a bench, looking up at the stars. You know what the craziest part is? Melvin said. What's that? If I hadn't slapped you on that plane, I might be dead right now. What do you mean? I was spiraling. Bad. Drinking every day. Suicidal thoughts. No direction. That plane ride was my rock bottom, and rock bottom was exactly where I needed to be, because it led me to you. Mike nodded slowly. Sometimes God uses our worst moments to save us. They sat in silence for a moment. So what now? Melvin asked. Now, Mike smiled. Now you keep going, day by day, and when you're ready, you help someone else the way I helped you. Melvin grinned. Deal. Mike stood up and stretched. All right, I gotta get out of here. Early flight tomorrow. Where are you headed? New York. Podcast interview. They shook hands. But before Mike walked away, Melvin stopped him. Hey, Mike? Yeah? If we ever end up on a plane together again, I promise I'll just sit down and shut up. Mike laughed, a deep, genuine laugh. Good. Because next time, I might not be so nice. They both laughed, and as Mike walked toward his car, Melvin sat back down on the bench. He pulled out his phone and opened his notes. Day 182. Spoke at Mike. Ovation. Life is good. He smiled, and for the first time in years, so actually believed it. So what's the real lesson here? Because this isn't just a story about a drunk guy on a plane, and it's not just about Mike Tyson showing restraint. It's about something much deeper. It's about the fact that the strongest thing you can do in life isn't throwing a punch. It's choosing not to think about it. Mike Tyson, one of the most feared fighters in human history, had every reason to knock Melvin into next week. He was assaulted, humiliated, recorded, mocked. Any jury in the world would have said it was self-defense. Any judge would have understood. The entire internet would have cheered. But Mike knew something most people don't. He knew that real power isn't about domination. It's about control over your emotions, your reactions, your ego. The old Mike Tyson, the one from the 90s, would have destroyed that man, and the headlines the next day would have been about Mike's anger, Mike's violence, Mike's lack of control. But the new Mike Tyson, he walked away, and in doing so, he didn't just avoid a lawsuit or bad press. He saved 2 lives, his own by not going back to the person he used to be, and Melvin's by showing him that redemption is real. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you been in a situation where someone disrespected you, cut you off in traffic, talked down to you at work, insulted you online, tried to provoke you in public, and how many times did you want to snap back, to put them in their place, to show them who they're messing with? I get it, we all do. Because our egos tell us that letting it slide makes us weak, that walking away means we lost. But here's the truth. The people who react to every insult, every provocation, every slight, they're not strong, they're controlled. Controlled by their emotions, by their pride, by other people's opinions. Real strength is being able to absorb a hit, physical or verbal, and still choose peace. Real strength is knowing you could destroy someone, but deciding they're not worth your freedom, your reputation, or your peace of mind. That's what Mike did, and that's what saved him. But here's the other side of the story. Melvin, the man who made the worst mistake of his life in front of 40 million people. He could have stayed in that shame forever. He could have let that one moment define him. And honestly, most people would have. Because when you mess up that publicly, it feels like there's no coming back. The comments, the jokes, the judgment, it's crushing. But Melvin did something most people don't do. He owned it. He didn't make excuses. He didn't play the victim. He didn't blame the alcohol or his grief or the circumstances. He said, I messed up, and I'm going to fix it. And then he actually did the work, rehab, therapy, and meeting sobriety, accountability, day after day after day, even when it was hard, even when nobody was watching, even when the internet had moved on to the next viral moment. He kept going. And that right there is the other kind of strength this story teaches us. The strength to rebuild after you've destroyed yourself. The strength to get back up when the whole world has seen you fall. The strength to accept help when you don't think you deserve it. Because here's the thing about second chances. You can't earn them. They're given. By people who see something in you that you can't see in yourself yet. Mike gave Melvin a second chance. Not because Melvin deserved it, but because Mike remembered what it felt like when someone gave him one. And that's how grace works. It's not fair. It's not earned. It's not logical. It's just given. And when you receive it, you have two choices: waste it, or honor it by becoming someone worth saving. Melvin chose the latter. Now I want to talk to you directly for a second. Maybe you're watching this and you're more like Mike, someone who's been disrespected, wronged, hurt, and you're holding on to anger, resentment, a desire for revenge. Let me tell you something, that anger is a weight, and every day you carry it, it gets heavier. It doesn't hurt the person who wronged you. It hurts you, so maybe it's time to put it down. Not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. Or maybe you're more like Melvin. You made a mistake, a big one, and you're convinced there's no coming back from it. You're convinced you've burned too many bridges, hurt too many people, ruined too many opportunities. Let me tell you something else, you're wrong. As long as you're breathing, there's a chance to turn it around. It won't be easy. It won't be fast, but it's possible. You just have to be willing to do the work, and to accept help when it's offered. Because pride will keep you stuck. Humility will set you free. Here's what I love most about this story. It didn't end with a knockout. It didn't end with a viral video of Mike Tyson destroying someone. It ended with two men, both flawed, both human, choosing to be better. One chose restraint. The other chose redemption. And because of those choices, both of their lives changed forever. That's the power of deciding who you want to be in your worst moments. Not who you've been. Not who people expect you to be, but who you choose to be. So let me leave you with this. Strength isn't loud. It doesn't need an audience. It doesn't need validation. Real strength is quiet. It's walking away when you could fight. It's forgiving when you could hold a grudge. It's getting back up when you could stay down. It's helping someone even when they don't deserve it. That's the kind of strength that changes lives. The kind that actually matters. All right, I want to hear from you. Drop a comment and tell me, where are you watching from? I love seeing how far these stories travel. What part of this story hit you the hardest? Was it Mike's restraint, Melvin's redemption, the phone call? Let me know. Have you ever had to choose between reacting and walking away? Share your story. I read every single comment. And if this story taught you something, if it reminded you that second chances are real, that strength is choosing peace, that it's never too late to change, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. And if you believe in the power of forgiveness and redemption, type Raspati in the comments. We've got more incredible true stories coming your way. Stories about ordinary people in extraordinary situations. Stories that will make you think, feel, and see the world a little differently. So make sure you're subscribed, because you don't want to miss what's next. Until then, remember, true power is silent. True strength is choosing peace, and the biggest victories in life, they happen when nobody's watching. Take care of yourself, stay humble, and I'll see you in the next one.